Please tell me this is not something you are doing in your business. I talk to so many business owners who are doing this one thing and it is actually killing the growth of their business. It is making things so much harder and so much more time consuming for them before they start seeing results. And I really hope that this isn't you, but if it is, I'm going to share some tips to help you overcome this problem in your own business so that you can start seeing the results that you're looking for. So before we dive in, I want to share that I am a closet perfectionist. I'm actually a very public perfectionist, but I am, I guess, a recovering perfectionist. But I see so many business owners struggling with a sense of needing everything to be perfect. Perfect social media post, perfect website, perfect lead magnet, perfect email copy. And you know what? I hate to break this to you, but perfect does not exist. And it is killing your business because you are spending so much time trying to chase this ideal of perfect, the ideal of not offending anyone with the content that you're posting, and the ideal that there is one right and one right way and a lot of wrong ways to do things. Well, there's not. There's a lot of right ways to do things. There is one wrong way of doing it, and that's trying to do it with this perfectionist mentality. Because when we strive to be perfect, not only is it taking 100 times longer for you to do the project that you're set out to do because you're trying to make it perfect, you're like scrutinizing the transitions of the text on your reel, and you're like, is this the right word? Is this not? You go through 6 different iterations of the same social media caption you've spent 4 hours writing. No one is looking that closely at it. I promise you they're not. And I promise you they are not going to remember it 10 minutes after it scrolls past them, unless it's like a really good caption. But, you know, people do not remember as much as you think they do. People do not have the same sort of awareness that you have. They are not the expert. They don't know if it's an okay caption or if it's something absolutely mind-blowing. And you know what? Truthfully, you don't know either, because everything that you're going to write and do in your business is going to resonate with people differently. So when you're striving for this form of perfect, you're losing out on the opportunity to be real, be authentic, and create a connection with a person that is following you, that is losing that opportunity when you're too much over here and not enough over here. So I really want to emphasize today that the most important thing for you to do in your business is to do the best you can at your current place in business or your current place in your personal development journey. As you grow and evolve, you're naturally going to get better. You're going to change. You're going to do things differently. But if you are stuck in this mindset of doing it perfect, you're not doing it. You are not taking action. You're not posting the post. You're not creating the lead magnet. You're not sending the email. And all that's happening is it's delaying the growth of your business, because the more social media captions you don't post, that means you're getting fewer followers. The fewer emails you send, the less sales revenue that you're generating. So the more you antagonize and spend all of this time doing these things or not doing these things, you are hurting your business. And that's not good. We all have the potential to be successful business owners, but we really need to take the word perfect out of our vocabulary when we are doing things in our business, because like I said, there is nothing out there that is perfect. What resonates really well with someone is not going to resonate with someone else. A reel that goes viral is fabulous, but if it doesn't go viral with your right audience, it's not a perfect post anyway. So people are creating this standard and this expectation of what perfect should be, of what it is, and of what results are going to come from having this perfectionist standard, and it just doesn't happen that way. Quality is great, but you also need quantity in terms of the actions that you're taking. And if you are focused so much on quality and you're putting out 1 social media post a month, that's not good. I would like to see you do not 30 sloppy posts, but like, how about 7 slightly less perfect posts? Because quality is important, but quantity is too. And you need both to have a balance in a thriving business. And like I mentioned before, as you grow and evolve, things are going to get better, things are going to change, and you can't evolve as an individual, whether you're on your personal journey or as a business owner, if you are not doing it messy, if you are not putting the post out before it's perfect, if you're not sending the email out without editing it 18 times. Because you need to practice. You only improve with practice. And so many business owners are stuck in this place of being too afraid to practice because they're afraid of getting it wrong. and you can't get it wrong. It might not resonate as much as it could have or you would like it to, but there is no wrong. Even on social media, if you have a bunch of people that are commenting on your post going, this is absolutely awful, I don't agree with you, that might feel like it was wrong. Like you should have kept it inside until it was perfect. It wasn't perfect, and that's why those people are saying that. But that's not true. Putting that post out there has helped you now identify that those people are not your target audience. They are not ever going to resonate with you no matter what you do. It's never going to be perfect for them. And that is okay, because now you're opening yourself up to a world of opportunity to actually connect with the people who will see your content and think it's perfect. So even if it's not perfect to you, it is perfect for someone. Someone out there will think that it's perfect, and you need to let go of your internal sense of perfectionism so you can put it out there and have that one person see that post and go, oh my God, she gets it. She finally gets it. I understand now. She hears me. She has explained something that I needed explaining. Whatever it is that exists in your ideal client's head, you need to put your content out there so that they can see it, because I guarantee you someone is looking at it and thinking it's perfect, even if you're sitting there thinking that it's absolutely wrong. Because we are our own worst critic. We truly are. And like I said, I am a recovering perfectionist, so I fall into this trap a lot myself too. I try and do it messy. I try and put it out there before I feel 100% confident in it, because I know that quantity is important too. And that even though I don't think it's perfect, my standard of perfectionism is like way up here. Whereas, you can't even see that on video, way up here. Whereas a lot of people would be happy if they saw content from me that was like down here. And that's okay, because I just need to be a little bit further ahead in my journey than the person that I'm trying to help. If you're a product owner, you just need to have a product that works really well for a customer. How you package it doesn't always matter to them. They don't care. They're just happy that you've created something that solves their problem. So by focusing on this perfect, you are not helping that person. You are actually hurting yourself and your business and them by not sharing and not communicating your products, your service, your message with more people. We need to throw perfectionism out the window so that we can actually have a bigger impact. So I wanted to share a couple examples of kind of how this works and how this looks for me in my business, and I'll try and share a personal example too. We'll start with that. So if you are on a journey to lose weight or gain weight, you have this mentality about what perfectly healthy looks like. It means eating salad all day, every day. It means no junk food, no carbohydrates, whatever it is that you're doing on your own journey. Maybe it looks like working out for an hour a day. Well, that's perfect and that's great and that will get you results, but the problem is that's not sustainable. It's not realistic. And when you have this standard of perfectionism about what your fitness journey needs to look like, and one day you're out and there are no salad options in sight and you have to eat a hamburger because it's that or starving, then you feel like you failed because you weren't perfect. But that's okay, because one hamburger is not magically going to add 20 pounds to the scale. It is not derailing your progress so much that if you just went back the next day to eating more salads, that it's going to impact your progress in any way. But so many people will be like, I wasn't perfect today. I messed up. I'm going to go home and eat a whole chocolate cake because, I had a hamburger already. So like, what's the difference? Well, you're compounding your quote unquote failure because it wasn't perfect. And that was something that I struggled with so much on my weight loss journey. I would be like, well, I didn't do XYZ today, so it didn't work. So why bother? I'm just going to do ABC now, because of that perceived failure. And then I was setting myself further and further behind. Now in my personal journey, I was like, you know what? I really want a piece of cake today, and that's okay. I'm going to have one piece of cake, and tomorrow I'm going to go back to eating how I normally would. That one piece of cake has now helped me stay consistent, because instead of denying myself the things that I want, I'm embracing the imperfect, and I'm helping me stay on my journey long term rather than eating that one piece of cake, which, newsflash, I was going to eat anyway, but then skipping the healthy eating the next day because I had already failed. And you know what? Better wait till next Monday or next month or next year to start again, to try to get a do-over. Every day is a do-over. Every post is a do-over. Every email is a do-over. You just keep doing it over and over and over again and developing your skill set, your messaging, refining it, figuring out who you are, what you offer, how you help people. You don't just magically sit there and have it appear in your head most times. It comes from talking to people. It comes from doing the work, doing the thing, and then you figure it out along the way. And that is the best way to do it, because you are actively taking action. You are learning what works and what doesn't, and then making an informed decision going forward. But if you never have that messy moments, that trial and error period, you are hurting yourself, as I've said so many times before, but you are losing out on the opportunity to learn from your mistakes because you're so afraid of making the mistakes. And truthfully, the whole problem with that is that we classify them as failures and mistakes in the first place instead of clarifying them and calling them learning experiences. I don't fail in my business. I've just learned a lot of ways that don't work, but I've also learned a lot of ways that do, because I'm not afraid to take that messy action and do the things, to put the reel out there that I look silly in, or that I forgot to do my hair in, or show up in my stories without makeup on with my house looking like an absolute disaster, because my content does not need to be perfect for it to resonate with someone, for them to decide Brittany is the person who has the solution to the problem that I have. It doesn't need to be perfect. I might want it to be perfect, but it doesn't need to be perfect to help me grow my business, to create those connections and those sales. So from a business perspective, I said I'd give you an example. You'll see a lot of my, I'm going to call it evolution, come out specifically in my lead magnets. When I launched my business 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, it's been a long time. When I launched it, I created a lead magnet. It was 3 tips to boost your engagement on Instagram, I think was what it was called. I don't even remember. It was so long ago. And I put that out there and I thought it was great. It was the best thing ever. It was literally the ugliest thing I have ever designed in my entire life. It looked god awful. I cannot believe that there was a version of me that thought that was a good idea to put it out in the world looking like that, but I did. And you know what? It worked. People loved it. They found it really insightful. I grew my email list. Mission accomplished. My goal was to grow my email list, and that happened. Did it look pretty? No, it didn't. I look back on that now and I internally cringe. But you have to create your future cringeworthy content now, because that shows that you've grown. It shows that you've evolved, that you've learned things, that you've had that trial and error process in your business. We need to stop being afraid of that. So now after a year and a half or so of that lead magnet, I created new ones, but I also transitioned it and I called it something different. And it's still currently up on my website. And even that reiterated version, the second and third version of this document, I look back on now and I cringe and I go, why did I do this? What was I thinking? Yeah, okay, maybe it looks a little better, but it's now outdated content because social media changes so quickly. So it's actually on my to-do list right now to go through and look at it, to revise it and review it. And I'm going to transition those into blog posts now because I have newer, better freebies that I can offer people that are going to help them get even better results. And that's okay because it served its purpose at the time that I created it. And that's all that I can ask for. Now that I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm smarter, I'm more experienced in my own personal branding and my social media knowledge, I can create those new resources that help people even more at a higher level. But if I didn't start there 2.5 years ago with my 3 tips ugly AF document, I never would have got to where I am today, because the further down the road I kicked that can and the more I said, it's not perfect, it's not good enough, the longer it would have taken me to grow my email list, the fewer people I would have been able to help with my freebies and my services. So I'm so glad that 2.5 years ago, Brittany knew that it was okay to put that out there and that we could change it later. So I do that a lot with my lead magnets. If you've seen any of those, like I said, you may see it in my emails and my email sequences. Oftentimes the first thing I launch something, it is a black and white text in email document and you get what you get. I gave you the info. Did it look pretty? No. Then as I go back and I do it again the next time, I change some wordings, I add some visuals. So if you've been through a few iterations of my launch of Profile to Profit, you hopefully will have noticed that my emails the second time around look so much better because I had more time, I had more knowledge, more understanding, more confidence of how to communicate the value of my course, to put it into an image that looked good and represented what I needed it to represent. I was not at that level the first time that I ran the course. I marketed probably 6 different messages to people just to see what stuck, what worked, what resonated with people. And then the second time around, I reflected on all of that, I refined, and I picked 1 to 2 messages of how this course helped people. And that's okay. Because again, could not have done those revisions, would not have helped people the second time if I hadn't been willing to do a whole bunch of seemingly random stuff the first time, unappealing, visually not aesthetic stuff. Is that very off-brand for me? Yeah, I pride myself on having beautiful emails that look fantastic and have people going, oh my God, I love this. How do I see more of Brittany's stuff? How do I do this for myself? That's something that's a personal value of mine. But that doesn't mean that everything I have to put out there has to live up to that standard, because that is my perfectionism speaking, and not everything needs to be that level of perfect to help someone. So it's an ongoing struggle. It's something I work with and I live with every day, knowing that I could do better, that I maybe should spend more time doing things, and then having this other side of me going, you know what, Brittany, it's okay as it is, and you need to let this go now. It is time to release it and put it out in the world and let it be, and then come back to it later. So that's another example of mine. My social media content is like ever evolving. I talk a lot about repurposing social media content and like sharing it over and over again. And I'll admit that I am the worst person for doing this myself, because I'll look back at a post that I did 3 months ago and I'm like, oh, that was the thing. Yeah, why did I do that? Did you like not notice that there were like dirty diapers and half naked toddlers running around in the background? Okay, no, I'm very careful to make sure my children are fully clothed if they appear in my social media content. But you know what I mean? You look back at something, you're like, oh, I never noticed this was in blah, blah, blah. Or wow, that text really just was not good. Like, what was I thinking when I wrote this? Like, this is not great. And that's okay, because it worked at the time. So now I have a basis. I can take this social media caption, I can edit it and put it out again with the same content or different, better, more elevated content again another time, and that's okay, because I have created this base point to work with. And looking back at that, yeah, I get those really big cringe moments, but I also look back at it and use it as a, wow, Brittany, this is amazing. Look how much you've grown in 3 months, in 3 weeks, in 3 years. You have to look at it with that mentality to see the beauty in doing things messy. And it's hard. It is hard to do if you are someone that struggles with perfectionism like I do, but it is okay to not be perfect. And I'm just going to keep telling myself that. And I'm going to keep telling you that, because so many times I have business owners come to me and they're like, Brittany, I need help with my social media. It takes me 6 hours to create a reel. And I'm just like, whoa, please no. No one should ever, under any circumstances be spending 6 hours creating one video. I don't spend 6 hours creating hour-long podcasts for my business. There is no reason that you should be spending 6 hours creating a 30 to 90 second video for Instagram. No. That means that you are overthinking, you are overanalyzing, you are doing way more than you need to get your message across. And that is the biggest red flag of perfectionism. And that's what I tell my clients. Be like, I am so proud of you for sticking through that and doing it, but that is not what it needs to look like. And then we try and create a way to do that. And if you're someone that's like, but Brittany, I need to, don't. You really don't. I promise you, you don't. I'm going to keep saying that too. But I can help you. And I actually have a service, not that this was the point of the episode, but I have a service where I'll actually review your social media content before you post it. You send it to me and I give you my feedback so that you can stop spending 6 hours creating content. You can spend 30 minutes, 1 hour. That's still a giant reduction, even though that's a long time, working on it, and then send it to me, and then I'll tell you what you need to fix so that you can stop obsessing over all of the things that you don't actually need to fix. So just putting that out there. My social media content's a big one. My website is another one. When I started my business, thought that a website was a once and done kind of project. You did it, it was good, it stayed there like a statue. not attracting people to you. Well, for starters, that's not how websites work and you need SEO, but I digress. But I have spent, I don't even know how many hours working on my website, tweaking, adjusting, adding, deleting, researching, designing. So much time. And you know what? Again, same concept. I look back at the website I built when I first started my business and I was like, wow, that was a choice. That was a very bold choice. And you might look at my website now and go, wow, that is a very bold choice, Brittany. And be like, that's okay. It works for me. But I needed to go through that process of putting something out there, realizing that it did not align color-wise, copy-wise, service-wise with who I am so that I could then get to where I am today. So to wrap up and summarize, perfect is overrated. I've got a little baby who's waking up from a nap, so I'm really wrapping this up now. But perfectionism is overrated. Please throw that out the window. I just want you to do you, to be confident, have fun, to do it messy, to trial and error it, and we will figure it out and we will evolve together. I hope you found this episode helpful today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you're watching the video version. And if you are following me on my podcast, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Go Get Great podcast. And I will see you all next week.